Many voices, one community. This is Vox Lorcana. Hello and welcome, family, to tonight's episode of Vox Lorcana. My name is Scott, also known as Cypher 1000. I'll be your driver this evening. Sitting out to the east and coming to you from the Lone Star Studio, we have the wonderful and talented Daniel. Hello, Daniel.
Howdy, howdy.
And up to the north, broadcasting from Studio Pacifica, we have the talented and wonderful Rebecca. Hi, Rebecca.
Hello.
Everybody, thanks for joining the show tonight, whether you're on YouTube or Twitch. Glad to have you. If you're joining us from Let's Talk Lorcana, especially if this is your first time, welcome to the show. Especially grateful to have you here. And if you're listening to the stream on demand, we appreciate the time you're spending with us to listen to our little monthly chat. First Wednesday of every month, that means it's go time. I don't know about y'all, but when it's time to crack the mic, I only got 4 hours sleep last night, but it's like a little bit of an adrenaline jolt, and I am ready to go. So yeah, here we are.
Was it puppy related that you didn't get enough hours of sleep, or other?
No, it's just too many birthdays related.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just it. I am as age creeps up, then sometimes you don't sleep as well, and you get random aches and whatnot, and that's all this was. So we do have a puppy. If you haven't seen pictures of Malcolm, he's 6.5 months old. He's a terror, but we love him just the same. We look forward to the days when he's not a puppy. Heck, for that matter, we look forward to the days when he's fully potty trained.
Yes,
go outside on his own. Like he's getting there. He hasn't had an accident inside in a number of weeks.
Oh, there you go. Applause for Malcolm.
Yeah. They can be trained. Okay. So first off, I just want to, I think, start off with a little bit of excitement. Rebecca, you had some pretty interesting announcements here this past week. What's new in your world?
It was so fun to finally be able to share with everyone that I will be the host, or one of the hosts, along with Baker, for all of the Disney Lorcana challenges in North America and Europe. So really exciting, a wonderful opportunity, and I just am over the moon with excitement and really hope that Baker and I deliver a wonderful experience for all of the viewers who will be watching from home on Twitch. And yeah, it's pretty exciting to be working with all of these people that you see there on screen. Wonderful teams. Of course, Liam, Brandon, and JDZ, everyone knows. And Katie is joining us for the first time, which is really exciting. And then I'm really jazzed to be going to the European events and working with the European casters. So it's just, 2 years ago, or longer, I never would have imagined in my wildest dreams that I would be literally traveling the world for Disney Lorcana. And here I am. So it's just, I cried many tears. I cried when they, offered it to me, and I cried all again when they made the announcement last week. And there were a lot of people that sent me messages of congrats and stuff, and it just my heart was overflowing. So it's just really, really exciting.
Yeah, the mouse is going to fill up your passport with stamps.
Yes, indeed. And I'm glad for it. I've only been to Europe once before ever. Last year, my husband and I took an anniversary trip to Ireland. But other than that, I've never traveled really the world very much at all. And so, I'm going to get to, the first stop is Bologna, Italy. I couldn't, ask for a better first stop on this DLC tour that we're going to have this next season.
Yeah, and you not just the tour you'd mentioned that Katie's joining the team. We've got
Yeah.
a number of women joining
Yes.
both teams, which is just long overdue. Incredible. Very happy to see that.
Yeah, Erica, who is going to be on the Bologna team, she's actually Italian and she has been part of the Italian language broadcast team. And I don't know if y'all know this, but the World Championship that was at Walt Disney World was simulcasting. We had our English stream that our team was doing, and then they had a French team doing a cast and an Italian team. And the Italian team was actually three women, all three women. And Erica was one of them. And so it's very cool to see her join the team. And Kim is someone who I've connected with online. She has a really fun Instagram account. She's a cosplayer. Um, and she just has so much fun energy. I'm really excited for what she's going to bring to the team. And of course, we all know and love Katie. So it's really, really wonderful. Yeah. To see more women being brought onto the team and really just representing, the community. And yeah, it's pretty exciting. Eat spaghetti and gelato. I am going to eat all the spaghetti and all the gelato. I am going to have so much pasta. Like,
Well, as a tangent to that, I saw on Facebook they're doing like a world championship of tiramisu coming
oh
up, and they need
wow!
Oh,
volunteers for taste testers. And I'm like, I volunteer as
I
tribute.
volunteer. Yes, yes.
I would love to get diabetes there.
What's funny is I just had a chat with some of the folks who are coordinating all of our travel and things while we're there for Bologna DLC, and she's I think UK based. And anyway, she's like, I have traveled all around Europe, and she said by far, hands down, Italy has the best food from
mhm.
of anywhere. So
A-
yes,
and
we
you're
will.
going to the food capital of Italy,
That's what
so
I when I was looking up, I was like, things to do in Bologna. And it's like, this is the
eat.
foodie
Eat
capital.
it all.
Eat all the things. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. And I'm excited. We're starting to chat with the team. I can't share, but we're starting to talk about what the broadcast is going to look like and everything. And I think we're going to, last year, the first year was wonderful, but I think that everyone involved is like, okay, how can we just bring more magic to the broadcast for the viewers at home? So it's going to be a really wonderful stream, I think. So definitely, if you're not able to go to either Milwaukee or Bologna, tune in for all the fun.
Very much looking forward to that, and just seeing what the meta has developed into by the time we get to the DLCs. Uh, Seeing the new vibes of the new teams and different casting partners. Can't wait to see what's coming
Yeah.
down the pipe for that.
Yeah, it's also going to be interesting. And then I know we have lots of other things to talk about,
We
but
do.
I'm like, wow, the European meta is for sure different. And so that's going to be something I'm going to, be leaning a little bit on my European caster friends to help me with, because, there are things that you see that are the same, but the meta over there does sometimes look a little different from what we see over here. So it'll be an interesting challenge with that.
The uh, the topic of the day, it's really going to be twofold. We're going to be talking about uh, the collection quest here in just a little bit. Later on in the show, we'll be chatting about our experiences with Fabled. An invitation has gone out, and we re-extend it to all of our current listeners. If you would like to share a little bit about your experiences with Fabled, whether it's release events, pack openings, whatever the case may be, if you'd like to share, we'd love to hear from you. Go ahead and hit us up in our DMs through Discord. That's going to be the best way. And then later on in the show, we'll try to get some of you on to share those experiences and see what your weekend was like. For now, what we're going to transition to is a little discussion about our weekend at the park, and specifically Disney California Adventure and the collection quest that happened there. We will be streaming here a video of Rebecca's experience. But while that's playing, Rebecca, tell us about this past weekend. What was your experience with Collection Quest at Disney California Adventure?
Yeah. First of all, I was a crazy person, and I do live in California, but it took me about 7 hours to drive there. And I drove down Friday night and then went to the park on Saturday and turned right back around and drove 7 hours back.
Ooh,
And it just because of my life schedule and everything, I had to do it. But I honestly can say I am glad that I did, because being able to be there at Disney California Adventure and go to this experience was such a wonderful time. Not only was the experience itself really awesome, but also being able to see people like you, Scott, and Enchanted Kim was there, and Melissa, Missy Enchanted. Like, there was just so many people, Lurkana duo, um, that we got to spend time with in the park and everything. And so to do this experience along with our other Illuminator friends made it even more special. But one of the things that I walked away from the whole experience was this is a big deal. Like,
Yeah.
to have Disney Lurkana inside Disneyland with this kind of official experience being run by the park, by the cast members and everything, like, it not only was it wonderful, but this is a huge thing for the game. And as being somebody who's familiar with the parks and a little bit with Disney and everything, like, this is no small feat for them to have put this on. And it just makes me so excited about the future of this game and Disney Lorcana and the kind of experiences that we can expect to see. So I am just really, really happy with all of it. I think there's some things that they could tweak and work out. Like, this is their
sure.
first time. I think there's things that they've learned,
Yep.
and I offered some feedback on it and everything. But overall, it was wonderful. It was so much fun. And those cards are beautiful. I'm sorry for the people who can't go and get them.
the
Sorry.
you had mentioned
I can't tell you how many times I've watched all these videos. I think I've watched it myself like 4 times. I've shown it to Lily, right? Even showed it to my wife. I was like, "Can we doing this weekend?" No. I very, very, very jealous. But I'm so, Rebecca, to your point, right? This is not necessarily an event that was designed to target Illumineers who are already
Right.
engaged or fanatics, right, of the game.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious, what was sort of the crowd breakdown that you saw of, Lurkana players, right, who saw this and were there to collect promos, right, versus sort of guests of the park that sort of stumbled on it. I'm kind of curious. Did you get a sense of like what that ratio was?
I feel like there was a good mix from what I noticed, but definitely probably a little bit more on the side of people who already kind of knew about the game. But there were definitely lots of people that I overheard talking in asking questions where it's like, "Oh, you do not know anything about this, is new for you." And like, one guy was like, "Oh yeah, I just saw people in a line, so I got in line."
Mm,
you know, and or people going up to the check-in desk where you get your wristbands going like, "What is this for?" "Oh, okay,"
yeah, I
and
love that.
and
I
and
love that.
checking it out. And here's my hot take that I've shared before, Scott's heard before. My hot take is I I don't know how much I want people to be able to go into an experience like this and like over and over again and get multiple cards.
Hmm.
I know people want to, and I don't. It's not like a bad thing, but this event is designed, I think, to attract the people in the parks who are not familiar with the game already to have this experience. Um, and one of the things that I shared on Instagram the other day, as I was actually on my dinner break on my 7 hour drive down, and saying how excited I was about this, because to me, people who are Disney fans love experiences, love
Yep.
stories. We love the rides, we love the shows and the characters and having like an emotional connection to something. And most Disney fans, I think, are probably not going to just walk into an LGS to buy cards.
Sure.
But something like this, where they're
Yep.
in the parks already and they're kind of immersed into the world and the story of Lorcana, now it's exposing them and giving them an experience of what this game is. And I think that that's just so smart as far as what can we do to attract more people who love Disney, who love these characters and these stories, and we want to introduce them to the game either as collectors or casual players, families, kids, and all of that. And having an experience like this is the way to do it for sure.
To that end, they were very successful in converting the Quest experience into sales, and for the enfranchised folks. So on that first day on Friday, there was a line even just to get into off the page and start buying product. But where the trading area was, it's basically sandwiched in between off the page, which is the store, and then they have this little external kind of stand-up kiosk where all they're selling is Disney Lorcana product, playmats, troves, boosters, the sleeves, the works.
Of course, they sold out.
So Fabled was gone by day one, like everything, everywhere, all gone. But additional product continued to be sold as people were coming out. That first taste is free, and then they're like, well, how do I get more? Hey, we just happen to have some right here, right? and they were purchases of opportunity. They were capitalizing on those opportunities. It was a very successful marketing engagement from that perspective.
Yeah, I think
this is great.
Too.
Mm-hmm. So something that I really geek out with Disney is a few years ago, I got to attend a panel at South by Southwest where I think it was one of the Imagineering teams was kind of walking through how they handle collaborations and partnerships. And that really blew me away because they talked about just when they sort of like go to market and come up with an idea and start at the design phase with their partner, it's almost like two teams merging. And I have to just imagine that to create this, again, a limited pop-up experience, what that must have been like for the Imagineering team to come together with the Ravensburger team, and just like the amount of thought and energy that went to building this, again, limited experience. It's super exciting for someone like me because I just know that it's not just about sort of endorsement, of Lorcana, but it's about this idea that through this experience, there are staff that work, there's cast members, who work at Disney that are also getting a much deeper embedding of what all of us who've been following Disney Lorcana from day one have felt about this game. And I think that's really exciting, because I think we've all heard stories where you've got cast members in the parks who are like, oh yeah, there's a card game, and they don't know anything else about it, And I think that for me is, again, just really exciting to think about the staff meetings, they've had to have occurred, gearing up for this, ensuring that everyone who had, I can just imagine what that orientation or sort of stand-up meeting must have been like before, that weekend, where everyone was told this is where Lorcana is, and this is where this collector, quest experience is going to be, collection quest experience is going to be. And I think just that for me is super exciting.
Yeah.
Daniel, too.
Yeah, I will be honest that it made me cry. It did. I got I don't know. I got way more emotional. I don't know. I don't think Scott cried, but it made me way more emotional than I thought it was going to.
Hearing the music. Oh,
yeah.
I didn't get emotional over the event itself. I was more emotional over just the fact of being reunited with friends and family. That was for my particular experience. That was the heart of the weekend for me. Was being able to spend time with folks that I haven't seen in a number of months, and in wonderful surroundings, and with the trappings of Disney Lorcana in this Collection Quest event, which was phenomenal. And just that was the heart for me. Looking at kind of who I was there the first day, there was a lot of enfranchised people. I mean, you saw Lorcana hats and Lorcana shirts, and JDZ and a bunch of content creators there. James was there, Dan Regal, and later on, or actually earlier, we had Judge Phil, and of course Steve Warner was there the first day, and I think Lucas and maybe one or two other folks from Ravensburger. Clarissa, who was a former guest of the show, friend of the show, Beckoning Adventure. She was there for the rope drop. Dad Kano was there. So we had a number of folks, and just folks that you would recognize from DLCs as well. So there's a lot of familiar faces, even if you didn't necessarily know who they were the first day. Second day, wristbands weren't going quite as quickly, but they still sold out. But the second day is really where I saw a lot more newer people to the game, first time experience with Lorcana, and seeing, talking with Disney adults who didn't know any better. Like you said, there was just a line, they got in it, and now they're thrilled about this experience. Seeing parents with kids who this is kind of like their Pokemon type of experience. They're opening cards and engaging with that for the first time, and seeing some of these characters from the show now in their hand. Right, like the first time they see Honey Wizard, this incredible version of Pooh that's people have imagined. They're seeing a giant Tink who's strong enough to pick ships out of the water. These just really awesome cards, and now they're getting to engage with them in a meaningful way. So they're engaged in the world of Lorcana. They're immersed in that to start with. And then they're immersed in the reality of, hey, here's the cards, and this is a community that's already forming. And that trading area between those two sale points was bustling. I mean, that was nonstop activity from the time the first group got out to the last group was done. And even then, people were still trading afterwards. And you just love to see that level of excitement from people that, some of these people, it's their first time and the hook's been set. They're going to be part of our community moving forward.
Yeah. There was one family when I was in the room where there was a little boy. They obviously knew about Lorcana. They were not new. And when they transformed, the Master Luminaire transformed Winnie the Pooh into Pooh Honey Wizard, this little boy goes, he's a 5 cost with this much 5 willpower and quest for 2. Whatever. I forget his stats all of a sudden. And it was just really, and then like all the other characters, he like started like saying all of their stats and everything. And the parents were like, calm down. It was very, very cute. But
I love it.
But yeah, I agree that trading area, it was just nonstop people trading and sharing their cards. I saw lots of people who had grabbed, starter decks or product, like Scott was saying, and were opening it up right there on the spot to see what other cards they had and everything. So I mean, it started on Friday, so now it's still less than a week, but I think it's going to be really successful, and I hope that more people check it out. I've seen people not just like us, Disney Lorcana players, but Disney Parks folks talking about it and sharing with their audiences as well. So I similar to kind of what we've seen and heard about the cruise line experience that they did, I think it's way more successful than they maybe were even hoping that it would be. Is kind of the impression that I'm getting, which is fantastic.
Yeah, from the limited interactions I had with Ravensburger staffers, they seem to have all been extremely pleased with what they saw. It was the culmination of well over a year of work and collaboration and preparation. And I think those details showed, and it even improved from the first day to the second. So already they're making slight tweaks and changes to make the overall experience more enjoyable, which was wonderful. Like the first day, there was never any trivia offered about the antechamber where that was inspired by Fantasia. So they were giving us more details about that. That's just one example of a change that they had made, and I think they'll continue to find small refinements like that they can integrate into the experience.
Yeah. I'm so curious, like obviously this one we know that they're only planning on it for the month of September or until supplies run out. Um, like what's next? Like are they going to do it
Sure.
again like with each set? Like would they make it a permanent thing? Because for anyone who doesn't know, like the Beast Library was actually closed months and months and months ago, and it's just been sitting there closed, and who knows, maybe that's just been getting ready for this. And and so nothing has been in there, and it's like, are they thinking about making it a permanent thing, or like once every time there's a new set, or I don't know. It's just exciting to think about what the future plans might be.
Rebecca, can you compare and contrast this event with the collection quests at Gen Con?
Yeah, so they definitely have some similarities, but quite different, I would say. Um, One of the main differences to me is at Gen Con, the Collection Quest event was like an insular experience from start to finish. So you had there was no storytelling, there was no magic and lights and music and all of that presentation. It was just the trading part. But you were like 30, 40, 50 people all in a room, and you stayed there until everyone was done for like your, you know, 45 minutes or an hour. Everyone had 3 packs of cards, and you were trying to get 6 cards in on your quest. Whereas at the DCA event, you know, it was like people could come and go, or some people maybe didn't do the quest at all, like the trading part at all, but some people did, and so it was kind of like this optional thing to engage with. And so I think that just made for a little bit different experience. And of course, only having the 1 pack made it less likely that you were going to get the cards that you needed. So you definitely had to trade with other people. Um, and the one thing that I did like about the collection quest at Gen Con was that the cards that you had to get were all from the same franchise. So it was like some people had all Encanto cards, or all Alice in Wonderland, all Frozen, you know, and so that was kind of fun. The the booklets for the quests at DCA were just random cards. I don't know, Scott, I didn't notice anything that was like linking the cards together at all.
Yeah, I didn't either. I think they were really going more for um, just rarities, like the challenge
Yeah.
level, basically.
Right, exactly, and just like a variety of things, I guess, which is maybe good because then it's like, you know, at an event like this where you're exposing people to the game for the first time, you don't know what franchise like is going to connect with people, and so maybe you do want to give them a little bit everything because then they'll go, oh, wow, they have cards from Treasure Planet, you know, kind of
Right.
thing, you know,
Yeah.
so that could be. I think that they were both really fantastic experiences, but just different, you know, but obviously some similarities. I think that the Gen Con experience is definitely, n- you know, with it missing like the Disney story, you know, element of it is not necessarily something that you would want to have brand new people, you know, like Disney fans throwing them into this. You know, Gen Con is for gamers, right?
Sure.
That's people who love games go there. And so it was easy to just kind of throw them into this. Hey, this is a trading card game. We're going to trade cards and we're going to make it fun. But for the people who are the Disney fans, they're looking for like that Disney experience. And I think they did it very well. So I think for both audiences, they kind of did this collection quest in the way that was right for each of those groups of people.
Yeah, I think it was very smartly designed. Exactly like you said, it was tailored for their target audiences,
Mm-hmm.
which is a good idea. Uh, any other kind of final thoughts on the Collection Quest weekend?
I hope that they do it at more parks. We are lucky that I'm lucky that I live in California and that it was at Disneyland and I could go, but I don't know where they would do it, like in a place like Walt Disney World or whatever. But I think it's really, really like an A plus, home run kind of experience, and I hope that we see it expand.
I agree. I think it was well done.
Mm.
It's difficult for me to believe that they wouldn't do it again for a future set or sets, especially given the investment into the production that they had. Like, why
Oh
would
yeah,
you put in that time, effort, and money for a one and done?
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so yeah, I've got to believe there will be some rehashes of this in the future, and I'm glad for that.
And
Oh,
no one can say Disney Lorcana is dead.
Yeah.
amen to that. Yeah, yeah, dead game my Aunt Fanny.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, no such thing. Speaking of not a dead game, we brought Fabled to life this weekend.
Yes, we did.
And we had some release events, we had some pack openings. There was some people were frustrated with this, that, and the other. But I think in general, folks were very excited for the release. I know Daniel had some fun goings on with his Fabled weekend. I'll try and bring up a few images of that. Daniel, what was your Fabled release weekend like?
Yeah, it was a sort of a postponed, prolonged birthday weekend. And so on Friday evening, I've never been able to make an evening sealed event or a draft event. And so I got to do a sealed event at Game Castle on Friday evening. Those were some really wild packs, right? I think prior to that, had only been able to get a trove, which Lily opened her first epic. She got a Powerline card. And it was just so beautiful to see that epic for the first time. I mean, it really, the foiling was truly amazing. Um, and then on Sunday, I hosted my second annual birthday cube at Game Castle as well. And so again, Game Castle really went all out on sort of, I think this is the store competition, right? For decorating up as a carnival. So that you can see in some of those photos, there were some fun carnival games that they had set up. And it was like between rounds, you could get up and play a game and win a promo. So they just did a fantastic job as usual to really bring all the vibes. But the birthday cube has been really fun. If you don't know what a cube is, essentially it's a preset number of cards that you hand select and sort of construct into a fixed amount of cards that you would use in a draft. And so I had a cube built of 384 cards last year. It was my first time ever, doing a draft, and kind of just invited some of my favorite locals and we got together at my house. This year I wanted to kind of like time it with the set release. And so again, you can see we had a blast. I had a friend who is not a, Lorcana player at all. He's been playing Magic for 20 years. And one of my favorite moments was he just, he's just said yes, or he's like, I want to be there for your birthday. I love you. And as we're drafting, he was like, I'm just vibe drafting here. And normally in Magic,
I love
he plays,
vibe
yeah.
drafting.
And so, vibe drafting, I think for some people means, ooh, like this is a really pretty card. Uh, Vibe drafting for him was, I like to ramp and play big bodies, right? Whatever the color that is for Magic, I think it's blue, right?
Green.
And he thought that the lore pips meant how much mana the card would exert into. And
Oh
so he,
no.
he
Oh,
drafted
wow.
100%, a bunch of high questers, and way too many
Isn't
unleashables,
necessarily a bad thing,
which is
but
not a bad thing. But it was a lot of fun. And the guy on the right, Tulio, he's actually one of my former students, which was really cool. I remember when he actually won one of the first 1Ks that happened in Austin, that Game Castle hosted. And I remember seeing like, who's this guy? Like, oh, I recognize his name. And he was a fellow Steel Song player, and he kind of sat the last few sets out, had a kid. And it was just fun. Again, set 9 is sort of bringing him back into the competitive scene. And so it was really wonderful altogether. You can just see the cube that I have. You can find the link to it in the link that Vox that
oh,
Scott just
nice.
shared. Um, And this is a cube where I took sort of my first cube, and then I took the cube that Vonderland created for PPG Fort Worth. He had some spice in it where he took some of the cards from the Lumineers quest, and that just, again, those are some really fun,
Wait,
surprising.
like from the villains deck?
Yes, yeah. So
What?
we
Ooh,
had, yeah, we had, tentacles, swipe. We
Oh,
had
no.
yeah.
Oh,
So again,
no.
that's
you,
evil.
you you can imagine like opening up, these packs, or they're like not sealed packs, but I had these boxes you can kind of see in this photo, and when you open up, you pull out the cards, and this cube I designed to be 16 cards, and you pick two at a time, right? So it kind of made the draft a little bit faster. But you can just hear the gasp as people open up packs, and it's just like, a really powered cube. So you've got, like, imagine you have an entire 16 cards of legendaries plus, one or two of these, ridiculously powered villain cards. And
That's
that was just a lot of
crazy.
fun, right? I mean,
That's
someone opened Triton's Daughters, which is like zero ink. They're like,
Oh,
can I
yeah.
play this for zero ink? And I'm like, yeah.
Yep.
So
Oh,
it just made the
man.
decision choices really fun. And that tension, I think, is part of what makes drafting fun in general. And then I think, it was really designed to be a set 1 through 8, almost like kind of reliving the best ofs.
Mhm.
And what one of our good friends, who's everyone knows him as a blue steel main, sapphire steel main, he essentially just drafted Sapphire Steel. And again, that was fun for him, right? He had Popsicle. He had, I think there was one moment where someone had Lucky Dime, and they knew that it was going to get passed over to him. And he was like, "You're not getting Lucky Dime." So he took it, and then he didn't play it, right? So, those are the moments where, again, I think what makes Cube so fun is you play it with a group of friends that you know well, and you can tweak it, right, however you want. You can change up, you can make your own rules around it. And so, again, huge shout out to the 40 Born Discord, where a lot of folks get together and talk about, draft, sealed, and limited formats, and Cube as well. And so they've been amazing at every, since last year, helping me kind of think about how to design a cube for 8 players versus 12 players. We have a lot of fun in that Discord.
That's so fun.
One day I will build a cube for this game. I'm not there yet. I want there to be some more card density out in the overall card pool. Um, but I think cube is an incredible way to play. For those that haven't tried it, I encourage you to try it. Maybe start just with a regular draft from a standard set, and then from there start thinking about what would your kind of ideal fun set be. What would you put together to make a fun draft? There's no really a wrong answer as long as it functions, right? As long as you've got a good distribution of cards.
Yep, as long as there's a curve. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
cubes are very personalized. They kind of take the personality of their owner or their builder, so to speak. So yeah, it's a great way to play, and I encourage more people to do it. Um, at this point in the show, we'd love to hear from some other folks about their Fabled release weekend experiences, the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever the case may be. So if you'd like to share, feel free to hit us up on socials. Get into the DMs, and we will hit you with the link to join. We're going to start off with a friend of the program, and she was also at the Collection Quest and Disney California Adventure. Welcome back to the show, Enchanted Kim. Hello there.
Yeah.
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay,
yes.
cool. I'm back. I don't know if you guys are sick of me yet.
Never.
That'd be hard to do. So, Kim, what was your experience with Fabled over the weekend?
I'm pretty sure Rebecca and Scott know because I was with you both most of the weekend. But no, it was great. I think um, Friday I was a little disappointed because I got to the parks just a little too late, so I didn't get to do the experience on Friday. Um, But then I got to do it on Saturday and I got to do it Sunday, so it all worked out and it was a lot of fun. It was great to see everyone and hang out and just enjoy the Disney parks with everyone while also playing Lorcana.
What did you think of Fabled and the packs that you opened, the cards that you saw?
So I only opened the packs that came with the collection quest, and 2 more that I had gotten at Pin Traders, and so far no hits, nothing super exciting. I think we've seen the posts on socials of the comparison from new cards to what's reprinted, and it is a little sad to be like, I haven't pulled anything new yet. um, but I did open a box with Lorcanistan at Golden Horseshoe Friday, and his box was cracked. I think it was because, me, Enchanted Kim, and then Missy Enchanted were there next to him. He called us the Enchanted Sisters, and we just like manifested the best box ever for him.
All the shiny cards.
Yeah, like 5 legendaries, 2 epics, and an enchanted in this one
Nice.
box.
Wow.
What was the enchanted?
It was Max Goof.
Okay, yeah.
So very, very cool, very exciting. So I had a fun Fabled opening experience through Lorcanistan.
There you go.
What do you think about the product itself? Are you a fan of the reprints? Do the new cards speak to you? What do you think about the set as a whole?
Set as a whole, I would say it's just not the set for me. I don't think it's a bad set. I think it's a really good set for Disney Lorcana as a whole and Ravensburger, because I've always brought up that I feel, because I'm new to TCGs, and so I have a lot of friends that are like, newer to TCGs, or I'm trying to convince my friends to get into Disney Lorcana, and understandably, like as the sets were going on, it would be difficult to justify to my friends of like, yeah, we're 8 sets in, the really, really good cards from set 1 are now like really hard to find or really expensive. You can't just get that right off the shelves, first chapter and stuff. Like that just isn't a thing. So I love that Fabled is a really good, if you're new to Disney Lorcana or like really interested in getting into it, it's the perfect set to jump in, especially with the new meta coming from it, with rotation and new cards coming in and out. So yeah, there's that, but it just wasn't for me just because I have majority of the cards from previous sets, and so I honestly just didn't buy a lot. And even though my name's Enchanted Kim, I am not a huge like collector. Like I don't need to collect all the enchanteds, all that sort of thing. It's like if I pull one, I pull one, and I'm super lucky. But seeing the really beautiful enchanteds, that still just quite isn't enough for me to justify buying product. Like I'd rather, if I really, really want one, just buy it off, or trade it,
Sure.
buy the single, rather than just having all this extra bulk left behind from just trying to get product.
I feel like, to me, I would agree with you, Kim, that with those groups of people, but I've also decided there's a third group of people that this set is made for. So one is those new folks that are just getting into the game, like you said, and now this kind of, it's like a little bit of like a mini reset for the game with rotation and the reprints and everything. Those people who are like super duper collectors, they want to collect the enchanteds, they want to get all the epics. Also, I think the epics are so fun. They're so cool
Yeah,
looking.
the epics are
I
cool.
love them. But the third group that I decided as of last night that this set is kind of for is our LGS hosted a sealed event for Fabled last night for a pre-release. And this set for limited format for doing a sealed event, I've done a sealed event for every set since I think set 2. And this was the most fun that I have had doing a sealed event. Like the pool of cards, like with the reprints and everything, I think that my familiarity with the cards was part of it, but I don't think that's the only thing. I think there's just something about this set with all the reprints and the cards they chose to bring back that for limited play has made it. And I made a post about this on Twitter today. And as you all know, Naive is a huge limited format person, and he kind of echoed the same sentiments that he thinks this is one of the best, if not the best set so far for limited. So I feel like that's a third group of people that this set might be for, is the folks that enjoy limited play. This set might be for you.
That's a great point. There is some truth to that. The notion that a set has to be, in order for limited to be good, a set almost has to be built at least with limited in mind to have enough structural support internally. So take the madrigals for example. You can't just have one or two. A group like that really wants 4 or 5 to have that internal support for them. So if somebody wants to just draft madrigals, you could do that. Evasives is kind of a present theme in the set, and so if you want to just go heavy on evasives, which is valuable and limited anyway, right? That's something that everybody should want, is some good evasives. You can go heavy on those if you want. So it's things like that I believe help contribute, and I think we're going to see them. In fact, they've said they're going to start paying attention more and more in set construction to how it plays in a limited environment, which is wonderful to hear for the future.
Yeah. Are you doing any events, Kim? Like I know you weren't there for opening weekend, but are there any other like release events that you get to go to?
I'm hoping there's one on Friday. I don't know if you all saw. I did a collaboration video with Be Our Guest, who is also like a huge limited format person. So we're both like really into it, and I'm hoping, because I had some spicy hot takes in the video I did with him, and I want to prove him that my takes were right, that they're plausible. So I'm hoping I think Friday there's a chance I could do one. We'll see. If not, I'll like just host my own. We'll see how easy it is to find product later, hopefully. Because big releases this week, right?
On Friday, yeah. So like hit up your Best Buy,
Yep.
your Target, where Walmart, wherever. Not Walmart. Their prices are always terrible.
Got it, Rebecca. Not a Walmart stan.
All right. Well, Kim, I appreciate you coming on to the show and sharing your experiences.
Yeah. I was also curious about I don't know if you all saw the video I posted on Instagram, the alternate version of Collection Quest.
I haven't watched it yet. I had it bookmarked, so go watch. I haven't watched it yet.
It's really interesting to see the comparisons. To avoid spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen either version, I felt in the first version, or like the main version that we saw, there was a lack of exposition to why we were doing the quest. Like they explained a lot of the world of Lorcana, but we didn't get a lot of, in my opinion, and I talked about this with Melissa, where it kind of felt like like why are we trying to rescue Belle specifically? I felt like that wasn't explained super well in the main version. Versus in the alternate version, I think we got kind of the opposite situation where we had a lot more story to why we're doing the specific quest, and why we're trading with each other and not getting as much Lorcana specific story, if that makes sense. So it was really interesting to compare and contrast, and I felt really lucky that I got to watch the alternate version, or what I also assume is like the B version. Because it was a lot shorter of a show, and not many of the effects were implemented like the portraits.
Oh, interesting.
So was that on Monday that you saw that?
Sunday. Yeah, and it was the first show of the whole day. Melissa and I were part of the first group of the whole day for Sunday. And I'm curious if you're like a Disney fan, you probably know like the term B mode, and that's what Melissa was saying where it's like, sometimes like
if something's broken
or
whatever,
something's wrong, and it could be too just like a line. Like I don't know if it was necessarily technical difficulties, because I ended up talking to Lorcana Duo, who was in the group right after us, and they said theirs was the normal, the regular version. So I don't know if it was necessarily technical difficulties, because we did have like a 20-minute delay until we could get in. Like if, our time slot is supposed to be 9 a.m., like we didn't get in until like 9:25, 9:20. Or if it was just hey, we're giving you a very condensed version because we want the line to keep going. Or just a combo of both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I had forgotten about the delay on Sunday, or rather Sorry, my days are all mixed up
The
because
days.
yeah,
Right. I was like, Scott, you were there on Sunday, but I remember there was a delay
No,
on Saturday for you
so
too.
yeah. So the long weekend combined with Disney, like I legitimately lost track of days and time when I was there. It was what time is it? The sun is up or
Yep.
down. It's one of
It's
those
the-
two. That's
you're
the time.
inside the Disney bubble.
Right.
You're in the Inklands.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Good call. All right, well, Kim, we're going to let you go. See if there's anybody else out there that wants to talk about their experiences. Again, appreciate you for joining here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And it was so
Thanks,
much fun to
Kim.
hang out over the weekend.
It
Yeah.
was a great time. Always a pleasure to be reunited with my Lorcana family.
Thanks,
Bye.
Kim.
Bye, Kim.
So I'll just ask Daniel and Rebecca here. Do you have anybody that's hit you up that we need to bring in?
Let me check
Nope,
one more time.
not
Okay.
yet. There was
I'm gonna
something
check
that
the Twitter account.
somebody said that made me think of something, but now I lost it. I lost the thought. It was something with Collection Quest, but now I can't remember.
While you're working on that, Daniel, we'd already heard Rebecca's thoughts on Fabled. What were your thoughts about this set? What was your overall impression and how it was received?
Yeah, there are a few, right? I think something that's I think again, Ravensburger's addressed this, right? The amount of inventory that was allocated to stores in this first wave was less, right? And again, I think if I look at this from a business lens, there's a few pieces. Again, this is all my own conjecture, but you've got a number of things happening simultaneously, right? One is you know that you have a set that has reprints, so there's got to be, right, some percentage of working assumptions that um you're not going to have as much demand, right, from
Correct.
that group, that segment.
Yep.
Then you've also, I think, something I haven't seen brought up as much, but what had been announced again in a previous lorecast was the rest of Asia, right, so not China, not Japan, also had Fabled released, right? And I believe I could be wrong, right? I've not
I
done
don't think I
research on
knew
this, but
that.
they had Fabled English release this weekend as well. I'm like, again, I'm 75% sure. And so again, following that train of thought, you're then allocating perhaps, right, some of your production over to Southeast Asia. And then I think there's just this other piece of it, which is there's general TCG production challenges, right?
Yep.
And Scott, you've touched on that before. And so when you bring all those factors together, again, I don't know that it's any one thing. And then there's a new one that one of our locals has faced, which is every LGS, and I didn't really fully understand this, but in order for a local game store to have gotten pre-release products and or even the organized play kit, they have to be approved as an organized play store in the new Ravensburg Play Hub. And so, every LGS, even if they've been, able to support OP from set one, from the first chapter, had to go through a new approval process. And, I think one store in particular has had some challenges. And so, they had to basically a week out say, we're canceling all pre-orders, we don't know when we're going to get product, and we're canceling our pre-release event. We had other stores who had some distribution issues. Again, I think those were less on Ravensburger directly perhaps, but more on just the distributor. They got their normally stores were getting product in on Wednesday for Friday events. And we had a few stores that didn't get their product in on Friday. They got it in on Saturday. And so, I think just in general, I've seen on socials that, there's delays in pre-release events. And I don't know, like, I mean, again, for a local store who's not able to have the product to sell to their community and they don't know when they're going to get that product, and you're coming up on this weekend, you want to support your local stores, right? And I think we all want to support our local stores and that community. But if you want Fabled product right now, I'm gonna literally go, like, that's this one store in particular is right next to a Target,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that just feels weird, right? You want to support the store and you literally can't. And so
Right.
I think there's those feelings. At the same time, I will say sealed was a lot of fun, right? And I think for me, sealed was fun because actually of the familiarity of the cards, right? Like, and this, I think, coming as a relatively new TCG player, I felt like I got a glimpse of what seasoned TCG players must feel when they see card reveals,
Great
right?
point.
You're like
Yep.
seeing medallion weights. I'm like, I remember medallion weights being so good and limited. And you know, it just made kind of that experience of what cards I kind of, you know, went through. Again, I think I've grown as a limited player. And I don't know, it just made that experience a lot more fun. Seeing everyone open up epics, you know, kind of just added to the excitement. I felt like, you know, there were definitely a lot of busted boxes, you know, or packs in our sealed event on Friday evening. And again, I have to admit, you know, I had a really great pool in my sealed event. I remember, I think in my first pack I opened, it was I can't remember what the rare was, but then I had a legendary Robin Hood, and then the foil was also a Robin Hood, right? So that was like, okay, this feels really great. And then, you know, I got a giant Tinkerbell. I opened a Dumbo, and then, you know, medallion weights, right? And a smash. And it's like, I mean, this is a really good pool. I ended up going 2-1. And in one of my prize packs, this is the first time I've ever opened an enchanted out of a prize pack, right? Lily is always going to be the one that kind of has opened up enchanted cards in our, you know, buying a case. We, you know, again, we didn't get as much product this time, and I opened the Beast, is it Charming Prince, Gracious Prince? That is a beautiful card. The gold foiling on it is amazing, and so again, all in all, to sum it up, incredible Fabled release, you know, experience. You know, sort of added by the fact that, you know, Game Castle is a wonderful store, and we love our partnership with them. And thanks for letting them, you know, let me host my birthday there as well. So
I wish I could have been in two places at once. And frankly, I wish you could have
me
been in
too.
two places at once as well. The universe continues to conspire against us. The rule of Vox is that where two of us are gathered, the third may not be, or at least that's what's been the rule so
That's
far.
how it goes so far.
We're
One
gonna draw
day,
straws till he goes to Italy.
right?
right.
Nice. Yes. Something you said there triggered a thought, Daniel. The as far as some folks not having the best experience as far as availability is concerned, and I had heard it thrown out that Ravensburger may be trying to do this to basically conjure up false scarcity and thus increase demand for the product. And I want to say that I can understand why people might get that impression. I know where it comes from. It's nonsense.
Right.
It's complete and total nonsense. Ravensburger doesn't need to drum up demand for this product. In fact, Rochelle has
Facts.
already gone on record and said demand is unusually or unexpectedly higher, especially in the U.S. For this product. The demand is already there. Shoot, myself, I doubled my pre-order because people, you know, I heard a lot of experienced players saying, well, I'm just going to order singles because this is a reprint set and I only need the new stuff or the powerful cards that I want to put into my deck like Thumbos and whatnot. Okay, cool. I can respect that. Honestly, it's a smart way to go. But those cards have to come from somewhere, which means product still has to be open. And since there's very desirable cards, regardless of the reprints, this set is going to be cracked and it's going to sell out.
Yep. And you
Period.
have like people are excited. I don't think I realized how excited people were going to be about Dumbo, but people are very excited about Dumbo. Not just the
Yes,
card,
the
not just the
franchise.
card, like mechanically, like yeah, that Dumbo Legendary is like a great card, like, but not just that, but the franchise, the art, the characters. People are excited about Dumbo. People are besides themselves
Yes.
over a Goofy movie,
Oh my
right?
word, yes.
Like
Yes.
the power lines and the max, like people are besides themselves to finally have a Goofy movie in this game. And I think one of the other things that happened, honestly, I think that there were a lot of players who were like, oh yeah, I will buy some, but like maybe not as much as I usually do. But as people started seeing those epic cards roll out, seeing the enchanteds this set, which are this set of enchanteds for Fabled is gorgeous.
Phenomenal.
Like it's
Amazing. Yep.
every card to me is I look and it I don't know, it's because it's kind of going back to like that classic storybook, look that they had, I think, from like set one. I think that they just hit it out of the park with the enchanted set. And so I think that as people start seeing those, then it kind of got excitement again. And so then people wanted to order more. And my guess is one of the many things that probably contributed to the lack of product is, you have perceived lack of interest. And so I don't
Mhm.
know, maybe distributors are like, people aren't going to be buying as much, or store owners are like, yeah, it doesn't seem like players are that interested in buying as much. So they don't, so there's like all those communication lines. And so people are doing their orders, or distributors make assumptions or whatever. And then you have crazy demand that was not maybe as expected. And that's probably another piece of it. So yeah, it's unfortunate that we're having, and then of course it sounds like there's some real shipping issues that
Right.
went on. It'll be interesting to see this next week with the wide retail release, what the store shelves look like in Target and Best Buy and other retailers. So
And having a set in demand, I don't think is a bad thing.
it's not. No.
We want the cards to be available, but a set that is this desirable, we haven't seen this reaction to a set initially in quite a while.
It does feel a little bit like the maybe not quite set one, but definitely like set two vibes.
Yes. Yeah. That's about right.
You mean when I would go to Target every week because I knew when they got their TCG
When
shipments
the
on
stock
Thursdays
was
morning
there.
for this one Target and then Tuesdays for the other. Yeah.
Kim brought up a point. Rebecca, do you want to talk about that Disney Bound contest?
Yeah, I just wait. Oh, where did it go? I pulled it up so that you could share a link to their Instagram post about it. But Ravensburger is actually hosting an official Disney Bound contest, and it runs from it started on August 29th through the 4th, which is tomorrow before the wide release. So this is like a pre-release thing where if you Disney Bound as inspired by a character from Fabled and you post it on Instagram and tag Ravensburger and you do the hashtags and all the things, that they are giving away some prizes. And let's see, what do you get? You get
Like
it
a
just says
trove, a
winners.
playmat.
Let's see here, a bundle, yeah. So 10 people are getting a bundle of Ravensburger of Fabled product. So when I saw this, I was like, what? Finally, like an official Disney bound contest that Ravensburger is hosting. And I think it's so wonderful. And these are, if you scroll through the pictures, there's some fun things. These are all from Gen Con, some folks that were dressed up in Disney bound outfits, which is fun to see
I
some
love
friends
the honey purse there. That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah. So super fun that they're hosting that. I've seen a lot of people posting their Disney bounds. Kim did a really, really adorable Dumbo Disney bound that she took pictures of in the parks. And anyway, yeah. So if you are interested in submitting, get your Disney bound together, snap a picture and send it in.
All right. Well, we are just a little bit past time here. Any other thoughts before we wrap up?
No, it was great to talk with you guys.
Always.
As always.
It's funny, people ask how come only monthly? Well, that's because it's all we can commit to. And yet, from our perspective, a month feels like 10 minutes ago.
It really is true.
Yeah.
Forever and nothing at all.
A quick apology to our guests last month, especially TFM Melissa. We did a a Disney
Oh, yes.
draft with the
Oh, yeah.
kind of a fantasy draft to say
I forgot
who
about that.
what characters would you want to accompany you to Gen Con or a DLC with. And we're going to put a poll up. I completely spaced that. So I need to commit to getting that up no later than tomorrow. It's a little bit late tonight. But one way or another, I'll get that up so people can vote on it. We'll put it out on the Twitter account so folks can see those. I thought the teams and the thoughts were great, especially for it being an impromptu poll, because that's how I roll here. But yeah, folks did great. Got some great thoughts. I would love to see what the community thinks of those of our draft selections there. All right, let's go ahead and hit that opening, or actually outro theme song. On behalf of really didn't have specific guests, but on behalf of Enchanted Kim and hosts Daniel and Rebecca, thanks everybody for tuning in to this episode of Vox Lorcana and spending a little time with us tonight. And as always, remember, Lorcana means family. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.